Hey y'all, from Spindle Mountain Mercantile. I am Heather. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm making 3 different items that have nothing to do with each other. Well, I mean, they're all awesome, so they have that in common. So let's just jump right in. Project number 1. I asked my sweet husband if he could remember where we got this, and he could not. So I think it was the side of the road. Usually side of the road lamps don't have as nice of cord as this, but this one is really dirty and the harp is missing, so we're going with side of the road. I gave this a really good cleaning and you can barely tell. I even used magic eraser on it and it didn't work. So we're gonna slap some paint on that thing. I looked at faded burlap first and decided it was too dark, so I'm using Debbie's Design Diary chalk paint in crinoline. I want this to be really matte. I was going to say dull, but I don't think any of Debbie's paints are dull. If you get a glimpse of Debbie Beard's personality, dull is not a word that crosses your mind when you think of her. She is witty and fun and clever, and her designs are whimsical. You guys, she is just as sweet as pie to boot. If you don't follow Debbie Beard's social media, I highly advise you get right on that. I'm using one of my cheapo paint brushes that I can make a halfway straight line, and I'm just going around the top where the green, like, that's shiny. I don't know anything about how pottery is made, except I think you throw it. Don't think you throw it like against the wall or on the floor, because that would break it. I think when you throw it, it's that thing they do in Ghost, you know, where he's holding her and then they, yeah, never mind. Sorry, I got distracted. So I just want to dab it. I don't want any brush strokes. I'm using my big old brush for this part. And really, you don't even have to worry about it going on the lines because that top part is super, super shiny and the bottom part is really dull. So all you have to do is use your finger and wipe that top part off. Debbie's DIY chalk paints are highly pigmented, so you don't often have to use a lot of layers in this one. I only used one and it had great coverage. It was exactly how I wanted it. If you're afraid of getting the cord painted when you paint a lamp, go ahead and just wrap it with some tape. Painter's tape is preferable because it releases easier, and that way you won't get paint on your cord. Because it can be reconstituted when it's wet, chalk paint has to be sealed. I'm using Rust-Oleum's 2x Ultra Cover Matte Clear Spray. Now I should have showed you what I did after. I just took my fingers and dabbed it all over. I probably should have used a paintbrush, but you guys, I ruin those all the time by accident. I wasn't about to do it on purpose because I don't know how to get that stuff out of a paintbrush. Anyway, I wanted it to look mottled because I thought that would look more like the original pottery. In our shed, we have like 157 lamps. Okay, maybe it's not really that many, but it feels like 742 because we get them all the time and we just can't keep up with keeping them up. So my husband went out there and found the perfect harp that fit this. And then I found a waffle lampshade and I cleaned it up and it looked perfect on this lamp, like it was probably sold with it originally. I love it. Project number 2. Go ahead and ask me if I lost the footage for the beginning of painting this basket. Of course I did. I'm sorry. Have we never met? Oh, well, maybe a few of us have met. But anyway, yeah, I don't have it. I used Debbie's DIY Cottage Color in Provincial. It's sort of a gray and beige or taupe mixed together. My realtor friend Joanne likes to call it greige, but I always forget and call it grope. She doesn't like it when I say that in front of her other clients. This paint is an all-in-one, so it has the base coat, the paint, and the sealer, and I used 2 coats. I really didn't have to go back like I thought I would because there's so many crevices, but it really had great coverage. I was pleased. Since she is an avid quilter for Quilts of Valor Foundation, my mom has loads of fabric and old quilts donated to her. Sometimes the quilts are not repairable, and they're called cutter quilts because you can cut them up and use them for other projects. I promise they can't be fixed. If somebody could fix a quilt that's rattered and tattered, it would be my mama. She can't fix them. So we make stuff out of them, and then we sell them and we eat food because we have money. And that's a good thing too. Have you bought any eggs lately? Yeah, I got to cut a lot more quilts. Have you guessed yet what I'm making? I guess I didn't ask you to, but you know, sometimes you think about that kind of thing when you're watching videos. I am making a basket to collect Valentines in. So I'm cutting different heart shapes. I'll use these for other projects, but I wasn't sure what shape I wanted on this basket. And I decided I wanted a big old fat heart to go on it. First, we have to cover the inside. You see that schmutz in there? Yeah, I couldn't get it out. So we're just going to use my favorite fabric, drop cloth. I cut a wide strip and I wrapped it around to make sure it was big enough to go all the way around the inside. Now the inside will be smaller than the outside, so I will trim that up when we get there. But for right now, I just overlap it a little because I would rather have too much than not enough. Can you hear all that clickety 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 in the background? Well, that's my puppies. Here's some pictures of them so you can put the clickety clickety with some faces. That's Rufus on the right and Hamlet on the left. And this is our newest rescue, Tilly Bell. Ain't she cute? She's an old lady. My original intention was to put the seam in the back, but then I realized you could see it too much from the front of the basket, so I decided to put the seam in the front. And that was kind of serendipitous because when I put the flat part down, the front part curves and it like made the fabric turn up so that now the bottom side is where the 2 front pieces meet. I don't know if that makes sense, but it didn't make sense when I was doing it either because you know why? I think it's because it's kind of math, and I don't do math. Math with an A, math. I don't do that. I'm in the house and it's cold outside, so I don't want to go get my good glue gun. So I'm using a little itty bitty tiny crappy glue gun that I keep in the junk drawer. And boy, can you tell I bought it at the Dollar Tree. I have to keep pushing the glue through, but you know what? It works, and the glue is sticky enough to stick, like permanently, to stay. I started with the back and I just put a strip of glue across the top. I thought this way, as I went around, the fabric would just lay where it may, and it worked out really well. See, sometimes it's okay if you don't do math. It turned out perfect in the front. It was barely perfect. I mean, those ends just barely met together. Now, once I got it all filled in, I went around the bottom and I cut out the big chunky pieces. And then I just put some glue down in the bottom of the basket and I pushed all of the fabric down and I went around the edges so that it would make the shape of the bottom of the basket. And then I'm going to cut another piece and I'll just put it right in there. If I wanted to do it really nice, I would tuck the ends under and make it so that you couldn't see the edges, or I would fray it. But you know what? There's going to be so many Valentines stuffed in this, nobody's going to notice that. That's my hope. So I just went ahead and put it right in. I measured it, by the way, by using the bottom as a template. I decided just using the big old fat heart on the front wasn't enough, so I got out my big wide burlap ribbon that I bought at Big Lots Going Out of Business sale. It's okay, breathe in and out. Okay, I'm okay. I cut it just a little bit bigger than the heart, and that way you could still see the sides of the basket and you got all those different elements going on. And I just used my glue gun to attach it, and it worked really well. Welp, I thought I was done, but I realized it needed just a little bit more. I remembered what my sweet friend Keisha said. She's excellent at staging and making things look amazing. And she told me, if you got something you need just a little something something for, just slap some drop cloth ribbon on that baby. And that's what I did, and now I love it. It is finished. When I got the ribbon in the position I wanted on the handle, I just pulled it back down and added some glue all the way around the handle. And then I pulled the ribbon back up over it and I tied it in a square knot. And you guys, I love this. When I was a little girl at Butteview Elementary in Emmett, Idaho, my mama always helped me make the best Valentine's boxes. And now you can help someone do the same thing. Yikes, do you see that crack? Well, I didn't see it until I was done with everything. So I took it outside and I got my scissors and I just scraped off a bunch of the paint and I made the whole thing look chippy, like it was that way on purpose. And now it's perfect. Project number 3. Okay, don't freak out. They're not old. They're LL Bean, and they were in a pile of stuff that I got from somebody who got them from a thrift store years ago. And they are just kind of super plain. So we're going to make them lots of fun, and we're going to leave them so they can still be worn. A few years ago, when I started making stuff to put in my booth, I discovered transfers. I saw people using them on the internet, and I thought that was awesome. So I looked on Amazon to find some, and this is what I got. And I wish I would have read the reviews, even though I had no idea what I was looking for, and I wouldn't have understood. People kept saying they weren't really transfers, they're stickers. Well, you guys, they are transfers because you rub them on and they transfer to your item. They're just more like those window vinyl things, that people have in the back of their cars. Maybe they don't have them everywhere, but here in the South, everybody has them. I mean, I seriously know how many dogs people have, how many kids they have, who died in their family, what school they went to, what college they like. I know all the things about everybody, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm all about the window clings. They're awesome. Just make sure you know what you're getting. Read the reviews. I mean, that's the rule for like everything. Now, these aren't even comparable to the quality of Iron Orchid designs, but they are cute and they match the color of shoelaces I have, and they're an Easter theme. So, hey, it works. Since right after I got these, I haven't used them, and I remembered them to be really difficult. Well, maybe it's because I learned what the heck I was doing, or maybe it's because year after year they sat in my she shack getting hot and cold and hot and cold and hot and cold. They're kind of like my old lady body. Anyway, for whatever reason, they were easier to use this time. And I only have one hand because I'm still recovering from surgery. I can use my hand. I can't use my arm. My husband likes to tell people that I have two arms. One regular arm and one little teeny tiny T-Rex arm. I have to lean in whenever I want to do something. And so I couldn't use both hands. Usually when you do a transfer, you have to rub with one hand and pull the carrier sheet back with the other hand. Well, with these, I just rubbed it, and then when I was done, I could pull it back. I did hold the shoe up sometimes closer to me so I could work with it. And right here, I had to cut a dart in it, and I had to, because it was round and it was on the toe, so if I didn't do that, it would be really wrinkly. So I just cut a little line right around one of the eggs. And you have to make sure when you do that, you put one side down and you rub it and take the plastic back and then put the other one over it. If you don't do it that way, then the transfer will stick to the plastic and you'll ruin it. Also in my stash from a long time ago were these numeral transfers that I found at Dollar Tree. And they worked pretty good. You can see where I'm rubbing it, the dull part. That's because it actually did rub off. So that worked well. I did seal these. I didn't seal the other ones, but I sealed the numerals with just some spray sealer. In this part of the filming, I did not add anything to the other side of that saddle part. Well, I decided later to add those, so you'll see those in the finished project. But right here, I only put them on the outside. I had these shoestrings that were really long, so I just took one and cut it in half. Now, it might sound a little OCD, but I think if you're going to have something to display to other people, it should look kind of neat and tidy. You know what I'm saying? I like for my shoelaces to all cross from the outside. And I wanted this to just kind of show off the laces a little more, so I did 2 X's on the way up the shoe. On Pinterest and Instagram, there's a bunch of tutorials on how to lace your shoes in whimsical ways. I really recommend you look them up. There's a lot of fun things you can do with shoelaces. As per my usual, I want to keep these, not to display, but to wear. Unfortunately, they are a size 7 and my feet are ginormous. But still, look how cute these shoes are. So what did you think about my 3 completely unrelated projects? If you had a favorite, let me know what it was in the comments. Of course, I love the shoes. I mean, that's my favorite colors. And this little basket is just adorable. And I hope someone buys it and has it filled to overflowing with Valentines. But you guys, that lamp was the easiest fix and the cost was perfect, and it's going to make me the most money. So I have to say that considering having a booth, that would be my favorite. But they're kind of all favorite for different reasons, just like I chose them for different reasons, none of which they have in common. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel and all that good stuff. Most importantly, share. I love having you guys here. Your comments are awesome. I really appreciate you. Until you see me next time, I hope you have a wonderful week. And as always, I hope you are blessed. Bye.